Football memories on the banks of the Ohio. A coaching legend. Moments frozen in time. Heroes never to be forgotten. Loyalty unmatched. Today it's so long, Riverfront, and thank you. It's the NFL on CBS, Week 14 from Cincinnati. It's the Browns and Bengals in the final game ever at Old Riverfront Stadium. The opening kickoff after this.
Hi, I'm Chris Carter. I'd like to talk to you about a problem.
Welcome back to Synergy Field here in Cincinnati. Great football day. Rainy, wet, cold, and a sellout crowd in attendance for the final game ever at Old Riverfront Stadium, 40 degrees. And just moments ago, the coin toss, some of the old Bengal legends, Anthony Munoz and company, for the final game at Riverfront Stadium. They will move into their new stadium starting next year, Paul Brown Stadium, still under construction. As a matter of fact, the players on Friday had an opportunity to step onto the field and test it out. And Tim Couch and the Cleveland Browns will be playing for a long time to come in that new stadium here in Cincinnati. So Brad Costello will send it away for the Bengals. One touchback on the season. And back deep, Terry Kirby, number 42, and Ronnie Powell, number 80 for the Browns. So we're ready to play the final game at Old Riverfront Stadium. And we're underway. Here's Powell from the 15. With the seam, burst through the middle and gets close to the 40-yard line. A return of 25. Greg Myers with a special teams tackle. That'll bring out Timmy Couch, who is the starting quarterback, only a rookie. Couch 18 for 29, 184 yards last week against San Diego. He set every rookie passing record in Cleveland Browns history, surpassing Bernie Kosar. And the kid gets better and better every game, Brent.
He really does, Gus. And you see the big number there, 13 touchdowns, only 11 interceptions. Something unheard of in your rookie year to have a positive TD ratio.
First down and 10 from the 37. They hand the ball off. Not a lot of room on the left side. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar carrying the football. He's the former Miami Dolphin. Stopped on the play by Michael Bankston. And a look at the lineup. Rumen, Pine, Lullaby, Zahersky, and Brown. Abdul-Jabbar in the backfield. Kevin Johnson having a great season as a rookie wide receiver. Play action underneath, and it's caught. Irv Smith with the reception. Stopped by Myron Bell, the safety. That'll bring up third down and long. Defensively for the Cincinnati Bengals, they wanted to get a bigger body up front, so they're using a 4-3. And take a look at the linebackers, all in their second year. Foley, Simmons, and Spikes. And in the secondary, often criticized this year. Heath and Hawkins on the corners. Hall, Bell on the safeties. 3rd and 7 from the 40. They need to get to the 47 for a first down. Tim Couch out of the gun, under pressure. And it's up top, incomplete. Ball intended for Kevin Johnson, who had a step. Artrell Hawkins covering. But Tim Couch overthrows it.
And that's one of the things as a quarterback, when you're rushing, you're stepping up into the pocket, sometimes you don't have quite the same touch. You're throwing the ball moving forward. Kevin Johnson had a step. Tim Couch could have just brought that arm down just a little bit, not as put quite as much juice on that ball. It would have been a huge play, maybe even a touchdown for the Bengals.
Chris Gardocki, averaging 43 yards per punt, stands at his own 25. He's back deep, drops it, and gets it away. Flags on the play. And the ball bounces backwards and is down at the 31-yard line. But, Brent, there's a flag on the play.
And anytime a punter drops a ball, you know it's going to be an illegal man downfield. Guys getting down too early. You can't release before the ball's kicked. And that's one of the things that's going to be in effect today with this cold, wet weather. That ball's going to be slippery.
Ron Winter, 5th year, is your referee today.
Ineligible man on the kicking team downfield before the kick. The penalty's declined. First down.
So they decline the penalty, and the Bengals take over at the 32-yard line. Jeff Blake started the season as the #1 quarterback, was replaced by Akili Smith, their first-round pick. Akili went down with turf toe, and Blake is back in the lineup, and he has really been lighting the league up.
He really
since
has.
his return.
It's been about pass protection, though, since he's come back. This Bengals offensive line starting to get some things done up front.
Blake on first down sets up the screen, incomplete. Ball intended for Corey Dillon. Offensively for the Cincinnati Bengals, Rod Jones, Willie Anderson are the tackles. O'Dwyer, Graham, and Lewinberg. Backs and receivers, Corey Dillon closing in on 1,000 yards. Pickens and Scott have really turned it up at the wide receiver position. Tony McGee is the tight end. Bruce Coslett, 4th year as the Bengals head coach, 22 years in this organization as a player and coach. He was a former tight end. 2nd and 10 from the 32. They hand it off. Corey Dillon with running room, and Dillon snakes down to the 36-yard line, picks up 4. Wally Rayner, the middle linebacker, with the tackle. Defensively for the Browns, they've been shuffling things around. Theory, Holland, Alexander, and McCormick. Up front, the linebackers, Wally Rayner, great-looking rookie out of Virginia in the middle, and in the secondary, McCutcheon, McNeil on the corners, Fuller, and the former 49er, Marquez Pope at safety. 3rd down and 6 from the 36-yard line. Blake out of the shotgun, underneath, and it's caught. Darnay Scott turns on the juice and gets to the 40-yard line. Corey Fuller tripped him up, but it's a gain of 24 yards for the man that we talked to yesterday, Brent Jones, and he told us he's ready to go to the Pro Bowl.
And watch Darnay Scott here. Releases inside, going against Fuller. That's what you want. Wide receiver versus safety. Comes across on the short crossing route. Darnay Scott doing a great job this year running after the catch. Spent a lot of time this offseason working hard. Carl Pickens was holding out. He thought he was going to come in, be the #1 receiver. And now the Bengals have 2 #1s this year, Scott and Pickens.
59 catches, 867, both career highs. The pitch to Dillon with the blocker, pops it outside, down the sideline. Corey Dillon running hard, and Corey Fuller makes the tackle.
Corey Dillon's going to get all the credit for that run. Watch the fullback, number 46, lead blocking out of number 55, Raheem Abdullah right there. Bang! That allows that seam for Corey Dillon to get out there. Corey Dillon's got great speed for a big man, and he's really been a force these last couple weeks. And when he gets over 22 carries, the Bengals are 9-2. That's significant.
Picked up 16 yards on the play. 1st down, 10 from the 25. He's 3 yards away from 1,000. Dillon. And he goes backwards, stopped at the 25-yard line. Darius Holland coming up and making the tackle.
And Darius Holland's made some big plays for the Cleveland Browns this year. Very athletic, big, quick lineman. Great athletic ability. Does a great job with his hands. Keeps blockers off of him. Can bounce around that line, making stops. It's one of the guys that Chris Palmer says, hey, that's going to be one of our staples of our defense.
And although they're 2-11, Chris Palmer, their head coach who came from Jacksonville, is one of the most positive coaches that we've seen in the NFL. He's keeping his guys up. 2nd and 9 from the 24. Short drop, Blake to Pickens, turns it upfield and stumbles to the 15. Tripped up by Dalen McCutcheon.
Dalen McCutcheon, the rookie defensive back, son of former Rams great running back Lawrence McCutcheon, has been a solid rookie cornerback for the Browns this year. And you see Carl Pickens right there saying, I'm going to take a shot at the rookie, but not a lot of teams have picked on the rookie. They've gone to the other side against Ryan McNeil, and when you're a rookie defensive back and teams are going away from him, you're making a statement.
Pickens and Scott line up on the near side. Out of the I formation, Dillon the deep back, they give it to him. Over the right side, Corey Dillon down to the 10. And right now the Bengals just marching the ball down the field.
You know, this has been one of the problems with the Browns defense this year. You're going to see Corey Dillon going right at it. And Dillon's over 1,000 now. They haven't had the run stuffers right up top. They've had 1 or 2 guys, but you got to have 4, 5, 6. You can't be giving up 5 and 6 yards of crack on first down.
And now Corey Dillon has gone over 1,000 yards. He's the first back since Denver's Terrell Davis to rush for 1,000 yards in his first 3 seasons. And the ball dropped by Yeast, and he has to just pounce on it. And it looked like Cincinnati had room around that right side.
Yeah, they really did. And you're going to see the fake up to the front to the running back here, and watch the defense collapse into the middle of the line right there. Corey Dillon, and everybody's full. You're going to see him have a big running room right around the side. But once Yeast drops that ball, the defense is collapsing on him.
And the Bengals in the red zone. And the field is very wet. So
really
that ball is going to be hard to hold on.
We've had games here when it hasn't rained and it's been slippery. The water seeps up from the river there, but there's really the turf, the style of turf. The turf really has a bend to it down there, and you can really slide even with AstroTurf shoes on.
2nd and 13. Draw play. Dillon pops it. Corey Dillon, and he's strung out and dropped by Raheem Abdullah. Also a rookie out of Clemson.
And you mentioned Abdullah out of Clemson. Dwight Clark, the general manager for Cleveland Browns, a Clemson graduate himself, former 49er. They're not going to miss any players out of Clemson. And Abdullah's been one of the bright spots for the rookies on this Browns team this year. First time around they played this game, Corey Dillon got a lot of yards cutting back, going backside when the front side was cut off. The Browns' big key for this game, don't let Dillon cut back and get yards on the backside.
3rd and 10 from the 11. Jeff Blake in the end zone, incomplete. Intended for Darnay Scott, and that will bring on the field goal unit.
Well, Bengal caught it. Just the Bengal Tiger.
He's just not active.
And Jeff Blake had a chance at Darnay Scott coming across the back of the end zone. It looked like that ball just slipped right out of his hand. When you see the ball overthrown by 8 or 10 yards, that's usually what's going on down there.
So Doug Pelfrey, who struggled this season, 17 of 25, will attempt a 28-yard field goal. They get it down, it's up and good. 7:57 to go, first quarter of play. A flag on the play. So hold everything. And I believe Earl Little may have run into the kicker.
Running into the kicker, number 20 of the defense.
And now it's going to only be a first down if it's a flagrant foul, Gus, coming into the kicker. It was going to be 5 yards. It wasn't going to be flagrant.
So they'll take the point. 7:57 to go in the first quarter. Bengals take a 3-0 lead. 7:57 to go first quarter, 3-0 Cincinnati on top of Cleveland.
Is that Otis Sistrunk? University of Mars. Jay Lewinberg, another graduate.
And the drive, 11 plays, 57 yards, 5.5 minutes.
I guess it was just running into the kicker, so they declined it. Had it been roughing the kicker, it would have been a personal foul, automatic first down. So the Bengals took the points. You don't ever want to take points off the board.
Costello, short kick. And it's fielded at the 25-yard line. And they'll get it up to the 35. As Mark Campbell is ridden out of bounds, back up tight end. Return of 10. 7:46 to go. Here comes Tim Couch and the Browns.
Yes is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. The smooth, satisfying taste of Michelob Light, beer or Michelob Light. And by Chrysler, giving you back the romance of driving.
Fountain Square in downtown Cincinnati. Kids doing a little skating. And the Bengals leading it 3-0. And my favorite guy, Santa Claus, in a new outfit.
That's right. Bengal Santa.
First down and 10 for the Browns from their 34-yard line. 4-receiver package. Mark Edwards, the lone setback. Couch fires to the sideline, caught by Abdul-Jabbar, and he's driven backwards. Artrell Hawkins got to him first. Takeo Spikes second. The Battle of Ohio, an historic battle here in the National Football League. Both teams founded by Paul Brown, the legendary Paul Brown. And the Browns lead the series 27-25. They lost the first game of the season at home. Second down and 11 from the 33. Out of the offset eye. Handoff. Kirby lowers his head and gets maybe a couple. Kimo Von Olhoffen, flag on the play. Already Indianapolis with the lead over New England. And how about the Colts this year? Unbelievable.
Boy, haven't they done a great job? 3-13 last year, coming back. And that's something the Cleveland fans are going to have to really think about. The Colts were battle-tested last year, took it on the chin a little bit, but they turned it around this year.
Holding. Number 72 of the offense. A 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Peyton Manning, my MVP. If you consider the competition that he's played against in the AFC East, I know Kurt Warner may throw 40 touchdowns.
And that's my MVP, so don't try to sell him short.
I'm not selling him short.
And I like Peyton Manning, too.
Second and 21 from the 23. Here comes a blitz. Couch sets up the screen, and it's batted down. John Copeland, great play. John Copeland looked like Karch Karai, just batting that ball down.
Good volleyball knowledge right there. You're going to see John Copeland go over to the right side, usually playing on the left side. Chris Ruman, the third-string offensive tackle, taking a bat by John Copeland, and Copeland going right by him. And that left tackle position for the Browns has been tough since Lomas Brown went out. Scott Rayburg last week had trouble in San Diego, allowing for Chris Ruman to go ahead and start this week.
Third and 21 from the 23. They need to get to the 44. Couch steps up in trouble. Michael Bankston.
Michael Bankston going against Chris Ruman. Again, you're going to actually see him with just power and strength drive the tackle right back into the quarterback. Look at that lean, staying lower than the offensive line, keeps him off balance, pushes his man right into the quarterback.
Browns punting inside their own 5. Great punt for Chris Gardocki. Yeast back to the 32. Still running. And finally dropped at the 40-yard line. James Williams with the special teams tackle. Big sack by Michael Bankston. Playing today in Cincinnati and Cleveland. First down 10 for the Bengals from their own 39. The pitch. Corey Dillon follows his block and tiptoes out of bounds at the 42. Last week versus San Francisco, the Bengals scored 8 times in their first 10 possessions. Today they scored on their first possession a 28-yarder. Monday on CBS begins with The King of Queens, followed by Ladies' Man. Then it's Monday's #1 comedy, Everybody Loves Raymond. Don't miss this hysterical all-new Christmas episode, followed by Becker and an all-new Family Law, Monday on CBS. And the early yardage totals for the Bengals, 60 yards, and the Bengal defense also doing well, limiting since Cleveland only to -3. Here's Blake going for the home run down the field, hangs it up. And incomplete. Intended for Pickens, and he wants a flag. And yesterday, Brent, we talked to Darnay Scott about Jeff Blake's penchant for sometimes hanging it up a little too high.
He throws that perfect rainbow, and sometimes if you got your man beat, you've got to sit and wait for the ball. Watch Carl Pickens this time. You have to sit and wait, make it a jump ball. And he didn't have a whole lot of room to jump there. He's thinking interference. But Darnay Scott says he talks to Jeff Blake all the time. Hey, just put a little less air on it. He said if he didn't put so much air on it, he thinks he could throw the ball 100 yards. That's
Blake,
far.
2 for 5 so far, 30 yards, 3rd and 7 from the 42. Here comes the blitz. Blake to the sideline, and it's caught. Griffin with the catch, and they give him a kind spot. Corey Fuller making the tackle, picked up 8 yards, 1st down Cincinnati.
And Corey Fuller was all over Damon Griffin. Jeff Blake does a nice job by leading the receiver inside away from the defensive back. Griffin runs outside, little spot right outside versus zone. See him, the ball being led inside. Just enough for that 1st down.
1st down and 10 at midfield for the Bengals. Blake passing off 1st down. Over the middle, and it is dropped. Holy mackerel. Wally Rayner, hot potato, just couldn't hold on.
And that's exactly what you want as a linebacker. A tip ball, not tough, not coming at you too hard. Just pick it right out of the ground. Darnay Scott, you don't see him drop a lot of passes. Lets it get into his body. When it's wet outside, ball bounce right off your shoulders. Wally Rayner, he's thinking touchdown. Wally, catch it first, please. Okay, come on, grab it. Yeah, he thought he had it. He started to run.
2nd down and 10 from midfield. Blake drops the ball and falls on it.
And Jeff Blake, he's looking at the officials saying, hey, you better start wiping that ball off. I don't want any wet balls. He's thrown a couple already. You've seen the ball slip around. Right off the center exchange right there. He picks it up and slides out again. Got to do a good job of wiping down those balls, and that's exactly what Jeff Blake was telling that official. And as a player, heck, blame it on the official. What do you got to lose?
There's the man with the balls. Big job for him today. They used 24 balls per game.
Did he have all 24 right there?
It looked like he did. Here's Corey Dillon with the blocker. Dillon cuts it inside. Corey Dillon down to the 21. Ryan McNeil with the tackle. Corey Dillon, a gain of 41 yards.
And you saw the speed of Corey Dillon. Watch number 71, Willie Anderson, pulling from the other side. First he gets in Corey Dillon's way, almost knocks him down. He's stride for stride with him, saying, come on, follow me. Misses a block. But getting that far downfield, those linemen say, hey, did you see how great I was looking step for step with you downfield? And you just need to get in the way. DBs jump out of your way. You count that as a block if you're lineman.
Dillon already 65 yards rushing. And he runs it over the right side. Fumbles. Fumbles. The Browns say they have it.
No signal from referees yet.
And they do. Wally Rayner jumped on it.
Corey Dillon cutting back inside. And boy, from that angle, Rayner wraps up the knees.
Thompson ended up getting it.
Might be reviewable.
By NASDAQ, the stock market for a digital world. And by Microsoft. Where do you want to go today?
Corey Dillon right here with the ball. Watch Wally Rayner here coming in from the side. Put his helmet right on the ball. Great shot. You see him juggling the ball. Ball's down before his knee hits. Great call by the officials. Wally Rayner doing a heck of a job for the Cleveland Browns this year. Well over 100 tackles, leading the team all over the field, side to side, making big plays. And he's just a rookie.
There he is, the rookie out of Virginia, 4th-round draft pick from Charlotte, North Carolina. This young man is going to be great. 1st down and 10 from the 23 now for the Browns. Couch underneath Kevin Johnson. Speaking of a very impressive rookie with the grab at the 30-yard line. Kevin had 5 catches for 41 yards in their loss last week to San Diego. Also a touchdown. And he is the all-time leading rookie receiver in Browns history.
And I really believe that he is the steal of the draft this year. And when you talk about stopping the Browns, teams go after Kevin Johnson every week. They say, we've got to stop him. And even on top of that, he's got 8 touchdowns, 768 yards, and he's the focus of their offense. That's what defenses try to do, is stop Kevin Johnson. So he's getting a lot of attention, but still making things happen.
And they look down the sideline, incomplete. Johnson, the intended receiver, covered by Artrell Hawkins. And at the end of that play, it looked like Hawkins may have held it. I don't think the officials saw it.
Doing a little hand-to-hand combat.
Take a look.
And watch, after 5 yards, you can't touch. That's a push right there. That's after 5. That's another push. Hands,
Look
body. That's what they call pass interference.
Spoken like a true receiver.
That's exactly right. They're just I always call him like I see him. I go the other way.
Every now and then.
Every now and then.
3rd down and 3 from the 30. Couch. Lets it go. Incomplete. Intended for Darren Chiaverini. Rodney Heath there to cover.
Chiaverini's been a sure-handed receiver all year. We've seen the ball being slipped out of hands all day. Tim Couch with a nice touch. Puts it right over the defender, put it right in Chiaverini's hands, and that's what Chiaverini's saying right now. He's looking up at the board to see if he should have caught it. Hey, Darren, I say you should have caught it.
Chris Gardocki standing at the 15-yard line. Left-footed punter gets away another beauty. East backpedals to the 19. Through the hole. Still running. Needs one block. Yeast rising. Touchdown. Another look.
Craig East taking it right up the middle, giving a little juke to Mark Edwards. Takes the first shot, bounces off, the bounce and spin, and once he gets in the free field, there's no catching him.
The extra point is good.
And I can't believe you used my Yeast is rising line. You stole it from me.
I stole it from you.
That's okay. He is rising.
Let's take another look at the end. Watch the speed. Craig Yeast, the rookie from Kentucky, spectacular play, and the Bengals lead it 10-0. 2:18 to go first quarter, an 81-yard punt return by rookie Craig Yeast. His second punt return this season. Short kick fielded at the 20-yard line. Powell trying to return the favor, and he's chopped down at the 40. Let's take another look at the return.
And watch Craig East set it up. You're going to see him go forward, give a little shake and bake, fakes out number 44, Mark Edwards. Marquis Smith, safety, contained right there, coming in, missing it, missing the tackles. As safety, you've got to make that tackle every time. Then East is off to the races. Number 39 making a great effort, Marlon Forbes. But East was smelling end zone all the time, and his stock is rising, Des.
Tim Couch's teammate at Kentucky. First down 10 from the 42. Abdul-Jabbar. And Kareem is down at the 44-yard line. Stopped by Myron Bell. Friday on CBS, the show that is fascinating America is back with an all-new episode. And someone is going to discover the truth behind America's newest secret weapon. An all-new Now and Again, Friday, CBS. Second down and 7 yards to go from the 45-yard line. Ronnie Powell in at receiver number 80.
Might be taking a shot downfield right here off play action.
Here's Couch, and he does. Powell caught down at the 10. 46. Good call, partner.
Hey, the speed receiver, Ronnie Powell, and we know that he likes to go deep. And that play action, you hope to freeze the safety. You see him working one-on-one versus Rodney Heath, the corner, man coverage. He's taken off deep. And Powell just going right up by him, does a great job adjusting to the ball, coming back. And Ronnie Powell, he's fired up about that. The speed receiver.
First down, goal to go from the 10-yard line for the Browns. Abdul-Jabbar looking for room, and he's tackled from behind by John Copeland, number 92.
When they brought in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar here several weeks ago, they really thought that would get this running game going, replacing Terry Kirby, who's a great pass receiver coming out of the backfield, and I still think a solid running back as well. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has not done for the Browns what they thought he would do for this running game, and a lot of that's been the offensive line. There really hasn't been a whole lot of holes opened up by this group, and that's part of chemistry, and they might need to draft a few guys, maybe bring in a few as free agents this next year, start opening up some holes.
They're without Pro Bowler Lomas Brown because of a knee injury. Couch looking in the end zone, flares it out. Abdul-Jabbar smelling the end zone. Touchdown. So Chris Palmer's squad fights right back. And they have a chance to cut it to 3.
And you're going to see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar just doing a nice job of getting up and catching the ball and keeping his feet. Artrell Hawkins going to be out there covering him, slides on the slippery field. We know it's wet and slippery down there. We were down there before the game started. I almost fell down.
And the extra point is up. And good. 4 plays, 58 yards. They held it for 218. And the Browns cut it to 3.
You're going to see Abdul-Jabbar just run a little flat route. Tim Couch just checking off to his back after his receivers were covering. You see Hawkins, 27, sliding into second base safe. But Abdul-Jabbar's into the end zone for 6.
Start of the second quarter. Bengals lead it 10-7. Tremaine Mack back deep. But this will be the up man, Nick Williams. And Nick Williams finding a hole and gets all the way to the 36. Return of 17 yards, stopped by Lenoy Jones. So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was traded from Miami to Cleveland, scores the touchdown.
And we talked at the top of the show. Watch Tim Couch go back, go through his progressions. Receivers covered 1, 2, 3, out to the back. That's what he wasn't doing early in the season. Abdul-Jabbar makes a nice catch, getting up top. Hawkins slips. Jabbar fights to get into the end zone. Abdul-Jabbar with a big catch and score.
And the drive, 4 plays, 58 yards. The big play to Powell.
The speed
got him inside the 10-yard line.
And we saw him check into the game, and we said, hey, take a shot now. Tim Couch was listening to us.
First down from the 36 for the Bengals. Corey Dillon. And Dillon stumbles ahead to the 42, maybe 43. Tripped up by Hervin McCormick.
When you see a running back getting 5, 6, 7 yards on first down, your offensive line is getting some things done up front.
And a look around the National Football League. Buffalo and the Giants. Giants 6-6, trying to get into the playoffs. Injured player will be back to Cincinnati after this.
This is
Supporting their Cincinnati Bengals. And the Bengals lead at 10-7. How about this? 30 years, same seats.
Got to get an award for that.
Thank you, Riverfront. Rich Graham was shaken up, but he will return. Fumbled on the snap. And Jeff Blake covers it up.
And it's significant because Rich Graham was the center. Brock Gutierrez in there. Jeff Blake not used to taking snaps from the backup center, especially when the ball's wet.
And Graham right back in the game. Out of West Virginia, 6th year. 14 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in the second quarter of play. 10-7 brings up 3rd down and 6 from the 40. They need to get to the 41 for a first down. Dillon in motion out of the backfield. Empty backfield. Quarterback draw. Blake just a burst of speed.
And he told us that he likes running that ball. And there's a flag back here toward the line of scrimmage. Browns are pointing that they're bringing it back.
It would have been a gain of 25.
Well, it was great. They went empty backfield, so all of a sudden Cleveland's defense thinks.
Holding. Number 74 in the offense. A 10-yard penalty.
Rich Bram, his name's never been called so much in a short time period. Let's go back. Here's 74, Bram right here, getting downfield. He's going to help on the DB downfield. You don't need to hold the DB. Just smack him. Just push him. You see he holds on to jersey of Ryan McNeil. And he didn't need to do that because Jeff Blake was already by him. Blake was telling us he loves to run the ball. That was a great job because with the empty backfield, that Cleveland defense thinks it's pass because there's no running backs. Jeff Blake took the snap and took off right now.
So the penalty occurred downfield. They have the first down. Blake setting up deep in the pocket, and he flips it out of bounds. Intended for Tony McGee, the tight end.
And the Browns are saying he juggled it. Of course, when it's on your sideline, you never give up a reception, so you always get in the
I believe McGee
face.
caught this ball.
Well, we're going to find out right here. It was going away from us. Nice job. I don't know if he kept his feet in. And there's the ball on the ground. And you might challenge it. I don't think we've seen a 2-yard catch challenged all year. This could be the first time. They must be pretty sure. And I don't know if he caught it, and I don't know if he kept his feet in to begin with.
Cleveland has challenged the ruling on the field that the pass was complete.
I love it. 2-yard catch on first down, middle of the field. Let's challenge that baby. And you've got to have 2 feet in bounds and possession. And I don't know if Tony McGee had either. You see the ball going away. He's trying to keep his feet in. Let's see. His 2 feet aren't in, and he's juggling the ball anyway. So, to be honest with you, how the heck did they give him a catch in the first place? That you don't even have 1 foot in. There's no feet in. There's no catch. And looks like Cleveland's not going to give up their timeout for that 2-yard reversal.
42 calls have been overturned this season. And what do you think about replay so far?
You know, I like the replay system because I saw in San Francisco that there was a couple big calls that went against us when we didn't have the replay that would have been changed under replay. As a player, you work hard all training camp, all season. You don't want it to come down to an official's mistake, and they're just human too. They're doing the best they can. They do a great job hustling out there. But if you have the system, and the NFL brought it in to use it as a tool, and they don't usually get a 2-yard catch, that foot's out, and no catch. And we've talked about it before. You got to have 2 feet in once you catch the ball. There's the catch. There's no feet and still no feet. And maybe not even a catch. And they're taking an awful long time to figure it out. They should call up here to the booth.
Well, they have people in the booth.
Well, we could make it go a little faster.
So Chris Palmer does not want to give up any ground.
When you're pretty confident about that, you don't want to waste a timeout if it's questionable, but that was not even questionable. The only thing that's questionable is it taking this long to figure out that it wasn't a catch.
Now, according to the rules, the official has 90 seconds once he goes and puts the headsets on to review the play.
And on plays,
then it will automatically go black.
And on plays that are tough to call, I don't mind him going over the 90 seconds. Hey, let's get it right. And that one wasn't that tough. Here's where he brings it in. He doesn't have possession until right there. And you can see his 1 foot's out, so it's not even close. Now, you actually have to catch the ball first. And once you have possession, it's getting the feet down. And so he didn't bring it in.
Finally, we'll get a decision. Now, if this is upheld, the Browns will blow a timeout.
I'll blow a gasket if it's upheld. They've got to overturn it on the field.
After reviewing the play, the pass is incomplete. Cleveland is not charged with a timeout.
And according to the officials, the reason that the decision took so long was because they were checking the positioning of the ball and the down and distance.
Here's an idea. Let's go back to the first down marker. It was first down. 1st and 10. Now it's 2nd and 10.
2nd and 10 from the 46. Dillon breaks it back. Corey Dillon down the sideline. Dillon out of bounds at the 4. What a run for Corey Dillon. A gain of 50 yards.
And what a great job at the end of the play, trying to keep his feet in bounds and get into the end zone. You're going to see Corey Dillon. They had a lot of trouble with the cutback. We talked about it early. Look at the cutback. Look at Rod Jones, number 60, pushing the guys downfield. And Dillon is gone off to the races. Safety has to make that tackle. Just steps out of bounds. And Corey Dillon has that breakaway speed. And you're going to see him come right down, just step out of bounds at contact right here. This next step right there. Just gets his foot on the line. Great effort trying to stay in bounds, get into the end zone.
Grabbed a face mask in the process. Corey Dillon has 10 carries, 120 yards, and we have 12 minutes and 58 seconds to go in the 2nd quarter.
And we haven't seen the Browns yet stop that cutback.
And a timeout on the field, charged to Cleveland. 12:54 to go. Cincinnati knocking on the door once again.
Sports, made by the pros, played by the pros. Zales, the Diamond Store. And by Campbell's Chunky, soup that eats like a meal.
And welcome back to Cincinnati, Synergy Field, formerly Riverfront, the final game ever. At old Riverfront Stadium, they'll move into the new Paul Brown Stadium next year. Corey Dillon already a big day running the football. Bengals have it, 1st down and goal from the 4-yard line. Dillon again. Corey Dillon. And he almost got in. They're going to spot it at about the 1-inch line. Ryan McNeil made the tackle.
The referee spotting the ball, where the ball is when Corey Dillon's knee hits the ground. And that was close because he rolled into the end zone. We're going to get a chance to look at it here. See Dillon cutting right back across the field. Knee hits right there, ball's down. His knee hit right back here. Good call by the officials.
Inside handoff, touchdown. Gross. The fullback. And the Bengals go up 16-7.
I like that. Give the big fullback some credit. Give him a shot in the arm. Let him get in the end zone. Doing a nice job blocking for Corey Dillon. Making some big plays out there. Look at that. He's hanging on to the ball.
He's going to keep that one. Playing collegiately at Texas A&M. And Bruce Coslett has the Bengals marching it up and down the field. 16-7, they lead. Extra point. Good. 7 plays, 64 yards. And the big 50-yard run from Corey Dillon, and Cliff Gross adds the 1-yard touchdown. Where the Bengals lead the game 17-7. Gus Johnson along with Brent Jones. The battle for Ohio. There's a squib kick, and it's picked up at the 32-yard line and advanced to about the 42-yard line. Roy Barker running the football. And Corey Dillon having an outstanding game already. 11 carries, 123 yards.
Needs a rub down already.
his 13th 100-yard game. The most yards he's ever rushed for, 246 versus Tennessee in 97.
Well, if he keeps getting the ball, he's got a shot. We still have 12 minutes in the second quarter.
First down for Cleveland from the 42. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar quickly through the hole, cuts it back, and is drilled at the 45. Gus Johnson along with Brent Jones. Corey Dillon really running the football well.
He gassed him the first game with that cutback, and you see how he sets it up. He goes to the strong side. The Browns over pursue very aggressive defensive linebackers, and all of a sudden he cuts it back, and there's nobody there, and he's got the speed to hit that hole and get through there and get downfield.
How do you stop something like that?
Well, you've got to be disciplined on the defense, and it wasn't like they didn't see this the first time around. Those linebackers and defensive ends know he's going to cut back. They got to stay at home.
Tim Couch hit as he throws the ball. Incomplete.
Michael Bankston again getting back there.
Steve Foley got to him that time.
You hear about Simmons and Spikes all the time. Steve Foley does a great job. Bowls over Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Bankston and him getting back and putting pressure. And Foley, the unsung linebacker, has really been making some plays. Has great speed, great range. Has a real knack for pass rushing.
3rd and 7 from the 45. They need to get to the 43.5 for a first. Couch. Kevin Johnson won't get there. Rodney Heath jumped on his back and rode him out of bounds. So the Bengals will get it back once again with 11:16 to go.
And that's one of the things I'd like to see the Browns do more of. Use the middle of the field. That's 7 yards to go. It's tough to throw a 3 or 4 yard pattern into coverage. You know, take your shot. If you're going to complete the ball, let's complete it for the first down.
Craig Yeast already with an 81-yard touchdown return. Stands at the 10-yard line. Chris Gardocki at the 34. Wobbly kick. Yeast allows it to bounce, and the coverage team downs it inside the 5. Raymond Jackson.
Yes is sponsored by the United States Army. Be all you can be. And by Gateway. Call Gateway and connect with us.
NFL playoffs are just around the corner. Get a complete review of every team as they battle for playoff positions. Just click on NFL at cbs.sportsline.com. First down and 10 for the Bengals from their own 4.
Put a little play action, take a shot deep with one of your big wide receivers. Corey Dillon's been running the ball. Guys to step up versus play action.
They give it to Dillon. Stutter steps through the hole. Gets over the 5 up to the 6-yard line. Wally Rayner with the stop. Next, check out Sport Magazine's Dominators of 1999. Featured are stories on Tour de France hero Lance Armstrong, the amazing year amassed by Tiger Woods, the history-making Women's U.S. World Cup soccer team, plus a look at Bo Sox ace Pedro Martinez. Next, after football here on CBS. Second down and 7 yards to go from the 7-yard line. Here's Dillon again with the cut back, and Dillon gets close to the 10, driven backwards by Darius Holland.
Darius Holland's made a couple plays there on cutbacks, and that's what you've got to have across that line. The rest of those guys really have to step it up.
Corey Dillon already over 100 yards. 13 100-yard games on his career. He's rushed for over 1,000 yards in this game for the season. 128 yards. Third down, 4 from the 10. Jeff Blake, pump fake. Incomplete. Intended scout. And the Bengals will have to punt it away. Cleveland with the chance to get good field position.
And they hadn't made a lot of big plays on special teams this year. Down on the ball inside the 5 was big. Darnay Scott going one-on-one on the outside, giving a little double move.
Kevin Johnson back to return the punt. He stands at midfield. Brad Costello, 5 yards in his own end zone. This is a short punt. Johnson gets away from it, and it takes a Cincinnati bounce out of bounds at the 46. A 37-yard punt. So the Browns will start inside Bengals territory. Next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, it's an in-state clash when Denny Crum's Louisville Cardinals battle Tubby Smith's Kentucky Wildcats in a bluegrass bash right here on CBS.
That's tough to say.
Yeah, that was
bluegrass bash.
That's
Still
right.
Can't say.
Yeah, that's it. First down and 10 from the 47-yard line. And Tim Couch calls timeout. 9:20 to go, second quarter, 17-7 Cincinnati. Palmer's offense, however, with good field position as they have the ball spotted at the Cincinnati 47.
Got all his plays there covered in plastic so the weather doesn't affect him.
First down from the 47. Couch down the field for Johnson, adjusts, makes the grab at the 10. Kevin Johnson beat Rodney Heath, and that ball was thrown short.
And something that you just can't teach rookies is to be able to adjust to the ball. You're going to see Tim Couch lay it up there. Rodney Heath right with Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson stops, comes back inside, does a great job adjusting. Watch it. And he does a nice little pull by. Watch a little push, arm over. That's incidental contact.
A gain of 36 yards. This young man, awesome. Played collegiately for Paul Pasqualoni at Syracuse. Donovan McNabb was his quarterback. First down and 10 from the 11. Couch into the end zone. Nobody home. Incomplete, no flags on the play.
And Tim Couch was throwing it to a spot. Kevin Johnson trying to work the post corner. Went too hard to the post and slipped inside. And Tim Couch was getting pressure and just threw it back out there. And we talked at the top of the show, just so impressed with Couch and Johnson. They're going to really have a great time this offseason, a la Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison last season. Peyton told us they went every day, went with a new play every day, worked the nuances, and that's what those two are going to have to do. They've got a great chemistry already. It's going to look great here this next year.
Second and 10 from the 11. And they stay on the ground. No room, up the middle, fumble. Bengals get it back. Mark Edwards couldn't hold on to it. The first turnover of the game for Cleveland. And that one is a killer.
That really is a killer. Because Cleveland was driving back down, having some momentum. A touchdown there would have brought him within 3. And you're going to see Mark Edwards pound the ball right up inside. Usually the fullback, pretty sure-handed. He's got one hand on the ball. Kimo von Oelhoffen getting his helmet right on the ball. And Cleveland's had a tough year this year with negative momentum swings.
John Copeland coming over here.
There's the ball popping out right there. Von Oelhoffen. Now watch Copeland. There's the ball down underneath the 5.
They take over at the 11. No flag on the play. There was a ball loose on the sidelines, and it came onto the field.
That was probably our guy earlier on. He was trying to carry all 24.
That's right, and he fumbled one right onto the field. First down and 10 from the 11-yard line for Cincinnati. Jeff Blake scrambling. He can run. And Blake slides down to the 25. Ryan McNeil covers him up, but it's a first down for the Bengals. Gain of 14.
And Jeff Blake has hurt a lot of teams with his legs this year, as well as his arm these last 3 or 4 weeks. You're going to see him check his receivers. He sees right now they're covered, went to pump, sees the hole, just gets right up in there. He's got good speed, 4.6, 4.5, and a nice slide. And Tim Couch needs to take some sliding lessons from Jeff Blake. He's still trying to run over linebackers. Jeff Blake says after a few years in this league, you figure it out.
First down for the 24. Short drop, fires, caught Pickens. And look at him turn on the Jets. Carl Pickens down to the 40. Picked up 36.
And that's Carl Pickens just running a hitch route. You're going to see Ryan McNeil, number 47, come up and slip. Overruns it a little bit, just a little bad footing, and Pickens is off to the races. Nice acceleration right there by Pickens. Gets downfield, cuts it back inside. McNeil, though, got up, got back, and came back down the field to make the tackle.
First down from the 41. Draw play. Dillon shredding through the Cleveland defense. Gains 8 yards. And the umpire went down. That's Ed Kukart. Got to be pretty tough to stand where he stands every game.
Big Ed mixing it up. Like to see that. Here he is right here. Can he make the tackle? Let's see it, Ed.
Here comes
He's going to get pushed in the back, get from the side. Oh, the old knee chop. That chop blocking's illegal. It's nice to see him bounce up, though. It is tough. We joke about it, but these officials do have a tough job right in the middle of that field.
Number 33, Dillon once again. And he's dropped for a loss. Wally Rayner.
Now, you were talking to me about the 4th game of the season about Wally Rayner, and I said, who is Wally Rayner? You're so proud of yourself right now, because I agree with you. I've watched him on film. He is all over the field. And it was enjoyable talking to this young man yesterday. He said his heroes were Lawrence Taylor, Dick Butkus, Chris Spielman. Learned a lot from the short time that Chris Spielman was with the Browns. Told him it was so important to watch film and dissect it. He said Spielman taught him how to watch film. And that's really the big difference between college and pro, he said, is dissecting your opponent.
Third down and 4 from the 35. Nice grab by Pickens, first down. And the receiving tandem of Pickens and Scott along with Blake, you can tell that they have a rhythm now that they didn't have at the beginning of the season.
And, you know, Carl Pickens' holdout, he took him a while to get back adjusted. I don't know if there's anybody that catches the ball away from his body better than Carl Pickens. Chris Carter comes to mind. Watch him catch that ball away, have the presence of mind to drag that foot. That's a great job, just keeping your feet in. 4 or 5 yard catch. Won't look good in the stats, but a really nice catch. Great job catching the ball away from your body.
First down from the 30. Play action. Blake sets up. Underneath, Dillon with the catch. Dillon slips inside the 20-yard line. Raheem Abdullah right there. Gain of 13. Talking about Jeff Blake, we were talking yesterday, Brent, and you told me that at the end of the year, Jeff Blake is going to be a $5 million a year quarterback.
I really believe that. We had him 3 or 4 weeks ago when he got the start, came back in for Akili Smith, who's out with turf toe. And he said this is his audition, and he has been playing every week like it's audition. He's going to be one of the popular free agent quarterbacks come this offseason.
A Pro Bowler in 95. Blake again. Fires to McGee, and he cradles it at the 10-yard line. And this Bengals offense, like a machine. They did the same thing last week against San Francisco.
I knew you were going to bring that up. You love saying that stuff about the 49ers, don't you?
It's true.
Every Bengal I talked to brought that up this week. Coach
They beat them 44-30.
You know what Coach Gossett told me? 49ers aren't a very good team. I said, thanks, Coach. I already knew that.
Second down and 2 from the 10-yard line. 8th play of the drive that started at the Cincinnati 11. Corey Dillon. And Dillon gets to the 8. Irvin McCormick.
And there he is, getting ready to collect on that $5 or $6 million. There's been some talk here around Cincinnati about maybe putting the franchise tag on him. I don't think Mike Brown does that. And Jeff Blake told us yesterday, in not so many words, I don't want to be back here next year. And he was pretty blunt about it.
He's been in Cincinnati for 6 seasons, going to the Pro Bowl in '95. First down and goal from the 8, and look at the Bengals. They are destroying Cleveland so far in total yards. Stop and start. And he's dragged down at the 2. So the drive thus far, 9 plays, 87 yards. And they've eaten up 5 minutes and 13 seconds.
I think the word that comes to mind today watching the Cincinnati Bengals offense is precision. They've hit you short, they've hit you deep, they've hit you with the run. And a big part of that is this offensive line that hadn't played that well to the last 3 or 4 weeks really come together, develop some chemistry, used to working with each other.
Second and goal for the 2. Dillon again. Powers forward. Touchdown. Corey Dillon.
And you're going to see Corey Dillon just put his head down and take all 225 pounds of mean and lean forward and just smash the inside of that Cleveland Browns line.
First touchdown of the game for Dillon. He has 3 on the season. And Bruce Coslett smiling on the sideline. And the ball, they slip the snap. And it is incomplete. Ball slips out of the hands of Costello. Doug Pelfrey almost got killed.
Yeah, he made a catch and got more than he bargained for. 7 or 8 guys jumping on top of him.
Here's a look at the touchdown.
Corey Dillon, great combination of size and speed. Look at that forward lean, just breaks the plane right there.
No, he didn't.
What do you mean, no, he didn't?
Didn't look like he did.
That was pretty close. Nobody's challenging it.
2 minutes and 34 seconds remaining in the second quarter of play. It's all Cincinnati.
All right, Gus, here we go. You said he didn't get in, and we got to see right where that knee hits. Let's see. There's still moving. Okay, there's the knee hitting. There's the ball. Just had to touch the line. And it was close. It was closer than I thought.
Picked up at the 30-yard line by Tariq Saleh.
You got some good eyes there. It was within an inch.
One day you'll realize not to question my eyes.
Yeah.
Okay. Monday on CBS. If you thought you've had trouble picking out the perfect gift for your parents, wait till you see what Raymond goes through. Don't miss this hysterical all-new Christmas episode of Everybody Loves Raymond. Monday right here on CBS. Browns down 23-7. They lost the first game 18-17. Akili Smith, the starting quarterback for Cincinnati. Rain really coming down here in Cincinnati, Riverfront Stadium, the old Riverfront Stadium, now Synergy Field. Final game ever. Edwards out of the backfield, and he steps out of bounds. That will bring us to the 2-minute warning. Bengals up 23-7. On the NASDAQ halftime report, Jim, Craig, Randy, and Jerry will get you caught up on all the scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report. And these fans in Cincinnati, despite the team's poor record throughout the 90s, they've remained very faithful to this squad.
Well, it's nice to see plastic instead of paper bags over their head. Offense has picked it up the last couple of weeks.
Couch, quick toss, Kevin Johnson with the catch. And it will be marked at the 45. Tremaine Mack with the tackle, a first down.
This is going to be a big 2-minute drive for the Browns. They've got to come away with some points. They've only got 1 timeout left.
From the 45-yard line. Couch down the This kid can play.
And going against Tremaine Mack, whose natural position is safety, they think that's a mismatch, and I think so. And he doesn't do anything, just gives him a little move inside and runs right by him. Tim Couch putting the right on his chest. And I'm wondering what Cincinnati's thinking. Matching up Tremaine Mack one-on-one, and Tremaine Mack's got some speed, but he doesn't have as much experience out there at the corner spot.
Cleveland with one timeout. Double tight ends. Touchdown. Terry Kirby. And Tim Couch still on the field. They may go for 2.
And I think you ought to go for 2 right here to be within 8. Then 1 touchdown and a conversion ties the game for you if you can get back in it. And that was a crucial score for Cleveland because they're kicking off the second half. Their defense has yet to stop Cincinnati's offense at all this first half. And they needed that score to have some positive momentum going into halftime. The Browns have been a good first half team this year. They've really had trouble coming out, though, and starting the second half.
So they bring out 3 receivers. Johnson, Shiverini on the near side. Kirby, the lone setback. Couch out of the gun. Here comes the blitz. Quarterback draw. He gets in. And jams it.
Tim Couch, some intensity right there.
So with 45 seconds remaining in the first half, it's a 23-15 game. Here's the touchdown. Terry Kirby.
And you see some good push by the offensive line of the Cleveland Browns. Something they haven't had a whole lot of this year. Now let's go to the conversion. Tim Couch doing a nice job taking the step back. The step back sells pass. Gets the linebackers out of there, then he steps up and steps in and steps into that spike.
And just like that, Chris Palmer has marched his team right back into this game.
Going for 2. Good heads up by the coach.
The drive, 5 plays, 48 yards. But remember the big play, Kevin Johnson, the 44-yard reception as he blew right by Tremaine Mack.
And you know Tim Couch looked out there and saw Kevin Johnson on Tremaine Mack, and he said, why is Tremaine Mack covering Johnson? Johnson almost 100 yards already at halftime, 98 yards on 5 receptions.
Kevin Johnson, who started his college career as a quarterback, beaten out by Donovan McNabb at Syracuse. They kick it away. Mack from the 15. Tremaine Mack down at the 32. Flag on the play. May be a face mask.
And I don't think there's any doubt that's going to be a 15-yard face mask penalty.
Ronnie Powell grabbed him.
And Tremaine Mack burned by Kevin Johnson, but coming back to burn the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns have really have some problems this year on special teams. That's something that they're going to really have to work on this next year. Watch Mack hit the hole, and there's nobody there. He starts running away from guys. When you run away from the kicker at that point, usually it's a touchdown. The speedster Ronnie Powell catching up, and that is a flagrant face mask.
A 53-yard return. With 37 seconds to go, Tremaine Mack already has a touchdown this year, returning a kick 99 yards. He averages 27 yards per return. And after this one is finished, the ball will be spotted deep.
Personal foul. Grasping the face mask. Number 39 of the kicking team. Penalized 15 yards and a first down.
So the Bengals have it at the 15-yard line, and this is on number 80, Powell. The official had the wrong number.
That's right, we didn't want to get Forbes in trouble.
So the Bengals have it with 37 seconds to go and 3 timeouts at the Cleveland 16-yard line. 3-receiver package. Blake out of the gun. Jeff Blake dumps it off to his fullback, incomplete. Cliff Gross couldn't hold on to that one.
And you saw Cliff Gross accelerating, Dalen McCutcheon getting over, but Gross was seeing that end zone again. He's already snuck in there once. And now's the time you got 3 timeouts left. I think you take some shots into the end zone. Darnay Scott Carl Pickens, probably the best receiving tandem in the National Football League. Throw it up to the big guys going against smaller defensive backs. Let him go up and get him.
Second down and 10. Blake hands it off to Dillon. Corey Dillon down at the 1. He slipped. Timeout Cincinnati. And Corey Dillon having just a huge first half.
Watch Jeff Blake set up the pass, takes a couple steps back before handing it inside on the draw to Corey Dillon. Big hole, Browns expecting pass. And Dillon went to cut back inside, take one more step, he would have had a touchdown. Great job selling the pass by Jeff Blake. And watch Dillon try to cut back right here and just slips down.
Corey Dillon, 19 carries, 161 yards in the first half of play.
And he's saying they cannot stop me. Keep getting me the rock.
Young man from Seattle, Washington, played at Washington after going to a junior college, second-round pick by the Bengals.
Really like his attitude this
Great
year.
attitude.
Isn't it great? And last year, he even told us he was defiant last year, a little bit of a rebel. Really changed his work habits, wanted to be more accessible to the press, to the media, wanted to be more of a team leader.
Corey Dillon acting like a true professional this season. First down, goal to goal from the 1. 2 timeouts remaining for the Bengals. Out of the offset eye. Corey Dillon cuts it back. Touchdown. So with 15 seconds to go, Cincinnati has taken a 29-15 lead.
And Chris Palmer's saying to himself, hey, we talked all week about the cutback. And that's exactly what Corey Dillon did right there. Only had 2 or 3 yards to go. But that backside of the defensive line is collapsing too much to the strong side, allowing Dillon to just stop, cut back, put his head down and get some big yards.
The extra point is good. So with 15 seconds to go, Corey Dillon, 20 carries, 163, 2 touchdowns.
Watch number 46, Cliff Gross, the fullback right here, come in and seal the backside. Watch the defensive end pitch down. He's going to drive him inside. That allows for the cutback. See him pushing his man inside. Watch Dillon cut back. Big hole, sticks his head down right into the end zone. That's the cutback. You can't give that up. You can't get blocked down. You can't penetrate. Nice job by Gross.
And they are waving the Bengals flag right now. And look at the drive. 3 plays, 16 yards, 30 seconds. Remember, Tremaine Mack had the big return followed by the face mask penalty, and they had the ball at the 15 with 37 seconds to go.
And these Cleveland Browns coverage teams have really hurt them this year, and we talked about that. They are going to really have to upgrade that in this offseason. You got to find out who wants to play. A lot of young guys, you can make the roster on special teams, and it's a lot about attitude and your commitment. And Cleveland's going to have to go out and find some guys that want to play special teams.
They send it away from the 15-yard line. Madre Hill. And he gets to the 30, a return of 18 yards. Coming up with the NASDAQ halftime report, Jim Craig, Randy, and Jerry. We'll get you caught up on all the scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report. And Jerry Glanville, he took one right on the chin when he was a head coach here in Cleveland. I mean, here in Cincinnati.
Well, yeah, actually, Cincinnati was playing Houston, and Coach Costas was telling us about Sam Weish and Jerry Glanville, two of our own at CBS, having a little battle, and Sam Weish poured it on when Houston was winning it. I think the score was 61-7. I think Sam even onside kicked with a 45-0 lead. That's called rubbing it in.
That is cold. First down 10 from the 32. Caught at the 40-yard line. And that should take us to the end of the half. And that's the end of the first half of play with the score. The Bengals lead it 30-15. Coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report, join Jim Nance and company for all the scores and highlights from today's action.
About those return yards that the Browns gave up, and I think that was the key. As much as Cleveland was outplayed in the first half, they had cut it to within 8 with less than a minute left, and Tremaine Mack, who got burned on a big play downfield by Kevin Johnson, came back with a big kick return. That's the mark of a true professional, to be able to bounce back after giving up a big play.
And let's take a look at the big plays. First, Craig Yeast, 81 yards.
Nice spin move after first contact. You see him come down here. He's going to get lassoed in the back, keep his feet, keep on rolling right into the end zone.
And then Tremaine Mack.
Tremaine Mack, nice job by the wedge, clearing out the inside there. You see a big hole going right past the kicker. Thought he was going all the way. Ronnie Powell, the speedster, pulling him down with a face mask.
So when you look at the return yards, that's one thing. The rushing yards also. Corey Dillon having an outstanding first half.
Cleveland still hasn't been able to stop that cutback. We've diagrammed it. We talked about it. Chris Palmer, the coach of the Cleveland Browns, came into the game and told us that was going to be a key. The Browns still haven't been able to stop that.
So the Browns defense struggling, trying to figure out a way to stop Corey Dillon from cutting back. However, their offense has been pretty productive. They've been able to run the football.
Been a nice job, Cleveland. Tim Couch making the nice reads, keeping Cleveland in this game. And like we said, they were tremendously outplayed in the first half, but had cut it to 8. That would have been a big momentum swing going into the locker room, but Tremaine Mack came back with that big play.
So the last game here at Riverfront Stadium, the old Riverfront Stadium, now Synergy Field. Anthony Munoz, one of the greatest offensive linemen to ever play, part of the ceremony, and other Bengal greats. And we talked to Bruce Coslett about his memories here at Riverfront. He's been here for 22 years as a player and coach. And Sam Weish saying, you don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati, during a game in which they were taking on Seattle and people were throwing things on the field. So here are some of the moments.
The great Freezer Bowl, that was a great one. San Diego came out from California, was 59 below zero wind chill factor. Had no chance.
That Monday night game at 75, O.J. Simpson rushing for over 200 yards, but Ken Anderson throwing for over 400.
He talked about his Coach Coslett's funniest memories. He said anything funny involves Sam Weish. And that you don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati. I bet that's playing well in Cleveland. Has Sam had to go to Cleveland this year to do a game?
I'm not sure.
I'm sure he got a warm reception.
Bengals receive the football to begin the second half of play. Nick Williams inside the 20, and he gets up to the 30. And we've been talking about Sam Weish against Seattle when he coached here. This is Bruce Coslett's favorite moment. Check it out.
Will the next person that sees anybody throw anything onto this field, point them out, and get them out of here. You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati.
And I'm sure the people of Cleveland don't appreciate that, but a favorite moment for a career Bengal.
As long as they know he said it, not us.
That's right. First down and 10 for Cincinnati. From the 31-yard line, Jeff Blake underneath. And the ball is underthrown, intended for Darnay Scott. Raheem Abdullah, closest man to the football for Cleveland.
And Jeff Blake shaking his hand. He might have hit it on Derek Alexander's helmet. Alexander gets a lot of pressure back there. Might have just clipped it on the face mask of the helmet. It's tough to see from that angle.
Blake 7 of 15, 97 yards.
Still holding that hand.
Second and 10. Corey Dillon. And to the 35. Abdullah again with the tackle. That'll bring up third down and about 5.5.
Watch Derek Alexander, number 94, right here. See if Jeff Blake doesn't just go ahead and just graze the front of his hand. I think he probably just caught his face mask, finger in the face mask in this cold weather. Boy, that really stings.
Brings up third down and 6 from the 35. They need to get to the 41.5 for first down. Blake dumps it off the screen to Corey Dillon, looking for the first down. He has it. A gain of 8.
Corey Dillon getting some help from big number 58, Jay Lewinberg. Watch the guard push his man inside, get outfield, get up, make a block right here. Oh yeah, a little cut block. Going low on Corey Fuller. It's nice to see a big lineman not get juked out. Corey Dillon appreciating that. Getting up, getting the first down.
From the 43. Play action. Blake down the field for Darnay Scott. Incomplete. Flag on the play. Pass interference on Ryan McNeil.
And Ryan McNeil, I think, got a piece of Darnay Scott right before that ball came down. Pulled him back.
Pass interference. Number 47 in the defense. Penalizing the spot of the foul. First down.
Darnay Scott just out in front of him. Ball thrown over the wrong shoulder. And you see McNeil right there just get a little piece of him. That's a tough catch. Going away and outside. You have to turn back over your head. Turn back away. Fade into the sideline. And we've seen Scott come up with some spectacular catches this year. When a guy just gets his hand on you right before the ball gets there, it kind of throws you off pace.
46-yard penalty.
Huge penalty.
From the 11. Dillon. Following his block. And walks into the end zone.
Browns have yet to find an answer for Corey Dillon. Watch him wait, set up his blocks. He's going to get through the hole. Then watch him push his fullback, Cliff Gross, right here. Hey, go get that guy. Pushes him. Gross sees Fuller, goes up, makes the block. Dillon walks right into the end zone.
Third rushing touchdown for Corey Dillon on the day. And here's the extra point. Bengals take a 36-15 lead.
Let's watch Corey Dillon waiting for his blocks to set up. Then he sees it, hits the hole. Watch him turn around. Hey, no, Cliff, turn inside. Gross on Fuller. Nobody touches Dillon. They've yet to find a way to stop him.
Telecast of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
37-15. Cincinnati kicks it away. Fumbled. Finally, Cleveland gets it up to the 25-yard line. Andre Hill running the football. The all-time rushing games in Bengals history, Corey Dillon did it in '97 when he rushed for 246 yards against Tennessee. He still has 2 quarters to go and has 177 yards right now.
And like we've said, they have not stopped him yet. And if he gets enough carries, he's definitely going to make a run for that record.
First down and 10 from the 25. The all-time record, Walter Payton, 275 yards in 1977. Incomplete. He did it against Minnesota. That ball almost intercepted Campbell. Didn't hold on. And Artrell Hawkins almost picked it up.
Mark Campbell coming across on the crossing route. He's got the linebacker beat. It's tough. Ball right into you. You're going to get collision. Hawkins almost scoops it right off the turf. Mark Campbell been pretty reliable this year as the second tight end for the Cleveland Browns. Got to hang on to that ball.
Second and 10 from the 25. Somebody thought he jumped off sides. Von Ohlhoffen.
Tim Couch going with a little hard count, trying to draw the Bengals off sides.
And a look around the NFL. Indianapolis leading.
Prior to the snap, encroachment, number 67 in the defense, a 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
And one thing, whether you love Mike Brown or you hate Mike Brown, you have to credit him because he has been loyal to the city of Cincinnati, had opportunities to, was approached about moving this team a number of times, but he remains in Cincinnati. He's not popular. However, he is a very loyal owner to this city. Couch. Intended for Edwards. 12 minutes and 53 seconds remaining in the third quarter of play. The Bengals lead the Browns 37-15. It's the final game at Riverfront Stadium. Now Synergy Field. They will be moving into the new Paul Brown Stadium to begin the season next year. A lot of great memories. The organization going to 2 Super Bowls. 3rd down and 5 from the 30-yard line. Couch underneath, incomplete. And Kevin Johnson just couldn't hold on. But holding on in New York is Jim Nantz.
All right, Gus, check out Tony Banks. It's been a real struggle for him today to this point, but he hooks up with Qadry Ismail, and he bounces off the defenders, and he's going 54 yards for the lead. Ravens in front. Let's go back to Gus and Brent.
We saw Tony Banks last week against Tennessee. He had one of his best days, throwing for over 320 yards. Brian Billick has those guys rolling.
Great effort by Ismail right there. It looked like he got hurt, turned around and kept running and collapsed in the end zone.
Yeast once again from the 22. Craig Yeast, another good return. He gets close to midfield. Flag on the play. Return of 25.
And I think this one's coming back.
And an illegal block called against Cincinnati. 12:36 to go. 37-15. Memorable moment in NFL history. This week, find out what's number 7. Only on NFL.com. So the Bengals leading the game 37-15. Take over at the 17-yard line. Once again trying to add to his 177 yards. He gets to the 20. And speaking of memorable moments, Brent, how about the Freezer Bowl? 1982, January. 60 below wind chill. And look at the offensive linemen. They don't even have on undershirts.
No sleeves, going for the psych for San Diego. And San Diego was cold. Bruce Cousin told us the damn Fouts couldn't even throw the ball.
And the Bengals were en route to their first ever Super Bowl. Corey Dillon running the football again, gets to 25. Wally Rayner with the tackle. So Bruce Coslett, he's been here 22 of the 30 years. Former tight end, was the coach of the New York Jets, coming back, serving as the offensive coordinator, and finally promoted to the head coaching position. So 3rd and 2 from the 25. Lake, incomplete. Another opportunity. Corey Fuller, ball hit him right on the numbers, but couldn't hold on. And here comes the punt team for the Bengals.
Darnay Scott was running a slant route. Jeff Blake threw it. I think Darnay Scott runs into Dalen McCutcheon. Could have been offensive interference. Knocked McCutcheon down. And Corey Fuller. Well, that would have been a big play. He's got to hang on to that. And of course, Jeff Blake saying, hey, ran into my guy, but when you run a slant at 5 yards, you've got 5-yard chucks on McCutcheon. Did a nice job.
Short kick. Fair caught at the 45 by Johnson. 11-14 to go. Back to Cincinnati after this. 11-14 to go, third quarter. Jeff Blake on the right. Akili Smith, their first-round quarterback, on the left. He's been suffering with turf toe, but he was the starting and winning quarterback in the first game between these two. First down on the 45 for Cleveland. Tim Couch under pressure, and he goes down. Takeo Spikes. Flag on the play.
And they've been holding in the secondary. Myron Bell was all over Irv Smith.
And it's against Cincinnati.
Holding. Number 85 of the defense. A 5-yard penalty and a first down.
And we don't have number 85 on the defense, but actually it's at the top of your screen. There's a couple holds. Watch number 27, Artrell Hawkins. Kevin Johnson out and up. And he was going to be beat big on the up part of it. You still saw the flag thrown over the middle. I think there was some holding as well on the tight end, Irv Smith. A little double holding, but it's better than being beat deep. That's a great idea by the defensive backs. If somebody beats you, hey, I'd rather take that 5-yard holding than a big touchdown downfield.
From midfield, Couch down the sideline. Nice throw. Great catch, Kevin Johnson. Johnson and Couch, what a combination so far. 24-yard gain.
And this is a throw that Tim Couch wouldn't have made early in the season. Going against a double zone. Johnson going outside. There's a nice little seam between the corner and the safety. Between Heath and Hall, and Tim Couch makes that throw. He wouldn't have the confidence earlier in the year to make that throw versus a 2-deep coverage. Kevin Johnson throttling it down in that dead area between the corner and safety versus that 2-deep coverage. Man, that's something that you just can't teach rookies. There's two, quarterback and wide receiver.
Johnson again, and this time he is ambushed at the 35-yard line by Takeo Spikes. And the ball down. So the Browns lose yardage.
Takeo Spikes on the blitz right through the A gap, right between the center and guard. Nobody blocks him. Almost takes the handoff. Kevin Johnson's thinking to himself,
have you ever seen that
ball?
Have you ever seen that, somebody actually take the handoff?
No, but I've seen it. Junior Seau come close more than a couple of times.
Second down, 16 from the 32. They need to get to the 16-yard line for a first. And a flag.
Kevin Johnson and Darren Chiaverini both jumping. That's a no-no. Wide receivers.
Prior to the snap, false start, 85 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Coaches don't accept the wide receivers being offsides because you're looking and you're not even listening to the count. You're looking at the snap of the ball. So you have no excuse when you're a wide receiver and you jump offsides.
Second and a long 21. Couch, Terry Kirby. Great pursuit by Takeo Spikes. Also Oliver Gibson in on the play. Now, speaking of earlier in the year, the first time these two teams met at Cleveland, Cincinnati won at 18-17. Akili Smith, end of the game, a 2-yard touchdown to Carl Pickens. That was the difference. During that, he directed a 10-play drive covering 80 yards in the final 20.4 seconds. Couch, picked off. Copeland. There's the zone coverage, Brent.
The zone blitz, and as every defensive lineman dreams about, drop into coverage, have the quarterback throwing right into your hands. Defensive end John Copeland, watch him drop right back into the area. You don't expect as a quarterback, the defensive lineman back there. Nice job catching it with his hands.
8:46 to go, 37-15, Bengals with the ball.
CBS is sponsored by AT&T One Rate 7-cent plan. One simple rate all day, every day. And by Bolo Wines of Italy. Open up.
Bengals take over at their own 36-yard line. Out of the offset eye, Corey Dillon, the deep back. Play action. Blake dumps it. Tonight on 60 Minutes, the Pentagon doesn't want to talk about it, but 60 Minutes does. Gays in the military. Tonight on 60 Minutes.
Jeff Blake getting pressure out of the pocket right there. Nice job of selling the play action. Had Darnay Scott deep. One-on-one versus Corey Fuller. Scott was running right by him. Defensive line for the Cleveland Browns put some pressure on him, got him out of the pocket. That was a key pass rush right there.
2nd and 10 from the 36. Jeff Blake again looking for the screen. Nobody there. Now he decides to run. And Blake out of bounds to 41. Chased out of bounds by Raheem Abdullah. Skirmish on the sideline.
That's right. You don't want to push another team's quarterback out of bounds on his own sideline because everybody's there to protect their quarterback. Whether you did it or not, none of the guys believe you.
There's Blake. And what kind of team would be looking for a quarterback with Jeff Blake's skills?
Oh, I don't know. Only about 20 teams in the league, probably. And, you know, one of his downfalls of his career has been his inconsistency. I think a lot of that lends itself to the offensive line, the protection. He's got some great receivers. I don't think he's ever played with a real good defense, though. So if I'm Jeff Blake, I want to go someplace like a Tampa Bay where you've got an outstanding D.
Unnecessary roughness, number 47 of the defense. Unnecessary roughness, number 89 of the offense. Penalties offset. 3rd down.
Ryan McNeil and Marco Battaglia.
McNeil right in the middle. Getting a little fired up. Yeah, Steve Foley better get a helmet on. Don't go into a battle without your helmet. Could you lose those in this league?
Offsetting penalties. As the officials take their time and get things sorted out. Corey Dillon comes back into the game along with Tony McGee and Cliff Gross. So they'll do it again. 2nd down and 10. By the rookie Dalen McCutcheon. Here's Jim Nantz in New York.
This may sound strangely familiar, Gus and Brent, but for the 2nd time in this quarter, it's Banks to Qadry Ismail. This one, well, again, 57 yards, and Baltimore now up 7 on Pittsburgh. Let's go back to you.
His football team. Baltimore's put together quite a streak at the end of this season. Been playing solid defense all year. Tony Banks getting more confidence, really maturing in the pocket, making those big throws downfield. He just can't fumble the ball at crucial situations.
3rd down and 12 for the Bengals. Need to get to the 46, and they will not. That time, Corey Dillon with no running room. John Theory, the former linebacker, now on the defensive line with the tackle. And a look at the AFC playoff picture. Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Seattle, all divisional leaders. Tennessee, Buffalo, Miami. And the bottom tier, Kansas City, New England playing Indianapolis today and getting beaten. And Oakland beaten by Tennessee on Thursday.
And I think it stays just like that as we head into the end of the season. I think the top 6 teams are the teams that are going to be in the playoffs.
Wobbly kick. Takes a Cincinnati bounce. Still rolling.
Get that thing going. Damon Griffin trying to help it along.
41-yard punt. Policy, the president and chief executive officer of the Cleveland Browns came over from San Francisco. Been a tough year for his team. Expansion team. First down 10 for the Browns for 27. And Mr. Policy, you are very familiar with him, Brent.
Very familiar, and I really think that he can build this organization. I think they did a great job. Maybe had one of the best all-around drafts last year. You talk about getting Tim Couch, Kevin Johnson, what I think is the steal of the draft, a couple of starting linebackers in Abdullah and Wally Rayner, Dalen McCutcheon at corner, Shiverini. I mean, you got guys that are going to be the core of this team for years to come. They've got 13 picks coming up into this draft next year, and Carmen Policy knows what to do with draft picks.
Tim Couch underneath, caught by Mark Campbell, and he gets to midfield.
Mark Campbell getting up limping. Got a little ankle tackle there. Sometimes that helmet comes right down on the ankle when you fall to the ground. I'm going to twisted his ankle there.
And there's Mr. Alfred Lerner, the owner and chairman of the Cleveland Browns. A Brooklyn, New York native. Lives in Cleveland. And if the draft took place today, Cleveland would have the #1 pick.
And I think they ought to take Peter Warrick. No ifs, ands, or buts. Some people are saying Ron Dane. I know that they're looking for a running back, but you can get a quality running back in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, maybe 5th round sometime. Just ask Terrell Davis and the Denver Broncos.
6th round pick, right?
5th round, 6th round. You look about Kevin Johnson and Peter Warrick out there, your wide receivers. That would be a nice tandem to make some things happen.
First down 10 from midfield. Couch to Kevin Johnson. Complete. Flag on the play. Hawkins again.
Artrell Hawkins frozen in time, saying I was just playing the ball. The key was he pushing before he was playing the ball?
Pass interference. Number 27 in the defense. Penalized at the spot of the foul. And a first down.
Artrell Hawkins ended the play. You see getting his hands all over Kevin Johnson, giving him a push. Take him out of the path that he was taking. And nice job acting by Artrell, but he definitely pushed Kevin Johnson. You can sit there and stare down the official. That's not going to change it.
5 penalties, 51 yards. From the 21. Tim Couch. Great catch by Johnson. He knocks down the pylon, and they say he's out of bounds. No catch. And Hawkins dancing. And he shouldn't be dancing because Kevin Johnson has been pounding him the entire game.
And I love the way Kevin Johnson went up and went after that ball with a defensive back on him. And I'm still not sure that he didn't come down with his feet in bounds.
And a penalty called against Cincinnati.
Illegal contact. Number 26 of the defense. A 5-yard penalty. And a first down.
Corey Hall, the free safety.
Let's go back to see if Johnson gets his feet in. I think he's going to get up, get 1 foot in. Now you got to see, is the corner pushing him out? He's not. Just missed getting his 2nd foot in. Good call by the officials. They're right on it. But great athletic ability. There's one. You're going to see the 2nd foot just step out of bounds by a toe. I like the way Kevin Johnson's aggressive, going up and getting that ball. It's just something you can't teach a rookie. And I've said it a couple times. I think he was the steal of the draft this year in the 2nd round.
6 catches, 122 yards.
And can you imagine the passing threat? You had Peter Warrick on the other side. Who are you going to cover? Tim Couch?
And all they need is a tight end.
Well, they can talk me out of this.
I'm sure they could.
Hey, I know the guy.
They want people that can still play.
I know a guy that's a restricted running back for the Cincinnati Bengals that they might not mind making an offer to, by the name of Dylan.
First down and 10 from the 16.
Kevin Johnson a little frustrated. Archero Hawkins, whose defense has been proved every week, and that's a classic example. You're going to see Kevin Johnson, the ball is behind him. What he wanted to do was turn his head and get upfield and get into the end zone. You see him turn his head there just for a split second before he pulls the ball in. You got to catch it first, then get upfield. He knows it. And not just rookies do that, veterans do that all the time.
2nd and 10. Spikes. Showing blitz, he backs off. Couch. And he put that one on the line. Touchdown. Irv Smith. And he really gassed that one in there. So with 5:02 to go in the 3rd quarter, it's now 37-21.
I think the Browns are going to go for 2. Try to bring it within 14. Irv Smith running the deep stick out route. Give a nice little move inside. Tim Couch put it right on the numbers. Got upfield into the end zone.
Couch. Quick snap. And they don't get it. Kevin Johnson, the intended receiver.
And the Hawkins-Johnson battle continues. Watch Irv Smith, tight end. He's going to go up here, stick it inside, and come back out. Tim Couch go off his first read to the second read. Tight end the second read. Once Irv Smith gets the ball, he gets north and south. Get upfield right now. Dip your shoulder, get into the end zone.
Tim Couch likes what he's seeing. Couch so far 15 of 26, 227 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Browns keep hanging around. You know, 5 games this year, they failed to score in the second half. It was nice for them to get some points going here.
Monday on CBS. The King of Queens takes his Christmas bonus and invests online. Will he make big Yuletide bucks or get Scrooged? Don't miss an all-new King of Queens Monday, CBS. The scoring drive for the Browns, 4 plays, 73 yards. Irv Smith, 16-yard touchdown reception. 37-21. This one popped up. Takes a bounce. It's loose. And I think the Bengals recover. Nick Williams had it.
Oh, that was a heck of an effort by Nick Williams to get going back and get after that ball, because there was a big pile of Cleveland Browns and one lone black jersey. I think it was number 30, Nick Williams, the backup fullback for the Bengals, that dove over the pile and wrestled that ball away from a whole bunch of Cleveland Browns.
Bengals hold on. Golden opportunity there for Chris Palmer's squad.
Watch the up man on the right, right here, number 30, Nick Williams. The ball bounces right at his feet and bounces off his knee. Now watch this effort. Watch him go over the pile, get tripped up in the knees, and land on the ball. That's an effort. Big Nick Williams, 267 pounds. Once he gets a full head of steam, I wouldn't want to try to block him. I'd dive right at his knees.
First down 10 from the 35-yard line. Darnay Scott, the motion man. Pitch to Corey Dillon. And there he goes again. Corey Dillon. Flag on the play, however, at the 45.
And I think they're going to call 60 Rod Jones for holding. He's got his hands on a defensive player for Cleveland Browns. And he's done a nice job of springing Corey Dillon more than a couple times today. But I think he gets his hands on Raheem Abdullah.
Holding. Number 60 of the offense. A 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Rod Jones, 4th year out of Kansas, is a Detroit native. Henry Ford High School is getting better as the year goes on.
And here's the hold right here. Contacting Rod Jones. He's got his hand right behind his jersey. When you get your hand behind, the referees are going to call it every time. You've got to reroute your hands into the framework of the body. Rod Jones, you saw, he was frustrated. He didn't think he was holding. But you get that hand behind the jersey, the back of the defensive player, they call it every time.
Tony McGee, the tight end, gets to midfield. And it's a gain of 12. For Cleveland, Mark Campbell has a sprained right ankle. His return is probable.
Tony McGee, stalwart tight end for several years here with the Cincinnati Bengals, along with Pickens and Darnay Scott, the trio.
Pitch it. Dillon again. Stood up. Driven down. Wally Rayner. So Dillon threatening the season high in the National Football League. 199 is the season high. And Eddie George set the mark Thursday against Oakland. Dillon at 193. 2nd and 9 from the 48. Blake out of the backfield. Dillon can't hold on. Bring up 3rd and 9. Indianapolis now pouring it on New England. And Brent, what has happened to the New England offense?
Well, they never had a running game this year, and they've relied too much on Drew Bledsoe, the passing game. And I think this is going to be it for the Patriots if they don't come back and win today.
Buffalo now leading the Giants. Washington beating up on Arizona.
Actually playing some defense for the first time this year. I've been calling them the Reskins because they have no D.
That was very good. Here's Blake down the field. Darnay Scott open. Touchdown. Darnay Scott, 52 yards. And the Bengals take a 43-21 lead.
You can't take a safety and cover one of the best receivers in the league. And I don't think Darnay Scott did anything. I think he just went right by Corey Ford.
Extra point is good. Darnay Scott, 2 catches, 75 yards. A 52-yard touchdown.
Let's get the ground level ISO cam right here. Darnay Scott coming right at you. Little move outside, and he doesn't do anything. Doesn't even make a move. Just go right now. Jeff Blake hangs it right up. Darnay Scott going right by Corey Fuller to safety. You cannot single cover these Bengals wide receivers, and that's what Corey Dillon does. You have to take the safeties and start bringing them up to cover the run, allowing for single coverage in the secondary. And Jeff Blake continues that big hot streak he's been on.
Darnay Scott, big touchdown, says he has a $250,000 bonus clause in his contract if he makes the Pro Bowl.
And I don't think there's any question he ought to make it. Great job working this offseason. And we pushed him. We said, hey, what are you going to do with that money? He said, oh, he's looking at a car. And we really pushed him. We said, which one? Just maybe thinking about getting a new Mercedes or something.
So I think they're going to have to re-kick this. Fell through once again. And it's up and good. False start. The ball was blown dead on the previous play. And now it's good. Darnay, native of St. Louis, lives in San Diego. His mom also lives in San Diego, and he says that he's going to go see Mama during the bye week. Jeff Blake, 10 for 21, 170 yards, and a touchdown. Next Saturday, the NFL on CBS puts on a special Saturday showdown when Jerome Bettis and the Steelers battle Elvis Grbac and the Kansas City Chiefs. It all gets started with Jim, Craig, Randy, and Jerry on the NFL Today at noon next Saturday. 44-21. 3:15 to go in the third quarter. Final game at old Riverfront Stadium, and after every score, behind the stadium, they light up fireworks. Needless to say, they've had a busy day.
Haven't heard this music for a while in Cincinnati. Welcome to the jungle. This used to be a tough place for opponents to come in to play when the Bengals had a good defense. It's been a few years since that's been.
Belfry line drive kick caught at the 15. Foul up to the 35. Spins out of trouble and goes down. Fumbles. Bengals get it. Flags on the play. Rodney Heath recovered it.
And I'm sure that penalty is going to be holding against Cleveland. And Ronnie Powell's down. When you come into that wedge and get hit initially.
During the return, holding number 39 of the return team. The penalties decline. First down, Cincinnati.
Watch 38 Michael Bassnight putting his helmet right on the ball. And when you spin, there's a lot of guys inside of that wedge. You're going to get contact. You better have two hands on the ball. Bassnight knocking him down. Heath coming up with a big fumble recovery. And you just have to know that when you're in the midst of all those bodies flying around, you've got to have two hands on the ball. Lower your head, lower your shoulder.
3 Cleveland turnovers today. Cincinnati really racking up the yardage this afternoon. 10th in the NFL in total offense.
And making all the plays on special teams. And we've talked about that earlier. The Browns have really struggled this year on special teams. That's an area this offseason they've got to go out and upgrade. You've seen Kevin Johnson back returning punts, their starting wide receiver. And I really thought Desmond Howard, when he was released from the Packers here a week and a half ago, that they would go ahead and grab him just so Kevin Johnson wouldn't have to return punts. He went to Detroit. Promptly returned a punt return for a touchdown.
Look at the right part of your screen. Here's Powell.
And he's going to take a shot right there. And that's a picture-perfect tackle by Bassnight. Just taking him and driving him into the turf. And Ronnie Powell's still down. Hopefully he's okay. Usually when you get that full force of a guy landing on you and driving you into the turf, shoulder / collarbone type of injury. And let's hope it's not too serious.
And they're bringing the carts out.
And the NFL does a good job. You always want to err on the side of caution. It's a precautionary move, and it obviously didn't look as serious up here. It looked like he was moving down there.
Usually when they bring the carts out and they take the players off, they are eventually okay. As you mentioned, it's just a precautionary measure.
We've seen him moving around down there. Let's see the hit one more time. Bassnight's going to come in here. 38. Just lower his head and drive him right down to the turf. And you're going to see Bassnight come in once again and continue his leg drive. And hopefully that's not a collarbone, because that's what it looks like to me. And we saw Ronnie Powell moving his legs and moving his arms down there, and that's the first thing you look for. You want to make sure that he is moving, and he has been moving down there, but they are taking all precautions, and that's something the league has done a great job with. Always err on the side of caution.
So Ronnie Powell, a rookie from Northwestern State, 5'10", 174 pounds. He signed with the Browns as a rookie free agent from Hope, Arkansas.
Saw him made that big catch early in the game. Cleveland's got some young wide receivers. In fact, 4 rookies on the active squad today.
So Bass Knight made the tackle, number 38, and he put that helmet right on the ball and into the shoulder pads of Ronnie Powell.
Bass Knight, the backup running back, picture perfect form tackle. Well, maybe the Bengals ought to think about using him on defense.
So Bruce Coslet's team up 44-21, and you never want to see anything like this happen. And they are getting him onto the cart. Once again, folks, usually this is done as a precautionary measure, and more times than not the player is okay, but they want to make sure, the National Football League, that he is okay and he will be okay. Cold and wet day here in Cincinnati. Temperature 40 degrees, and it's been raining throughout the game. We will have a report on his status as soon as we get it. (44-21). Cincinnati leads Cleveland. 3:04 to go in the third quarter of play, and because of the turnover, the Bengals get the football at the Cleveland 43-yard line. First down and 10. And this time it is the backup Michael Bass Knight who made the tackle. Running the football, Corey Dillon may be done for the day. Michael Bass Knight, also a rookie, played at North Carolina A&T in the MEAC conference. Historically black colleges, Howard, Florida A&M, and North Carolina A&T, South Carolina State, schools like that. Second down and 3 from the 36. Inside the 25. Marquez Pope with the tackle, and it's a gain of 13.
And if that looks familiar, that's some of the same type of move that Corey Dillon's been doing, going to the front side, bouncing into the blockers, cutting back side. Cleveland still hasn't figured out how to cover the cutback lanes. Michael Bass Knight just picking up where Corey Dillon left off. And it's nice to see Bass Knight in there, but selfishly, I wouldn't mind seeing Dillon stick around and try to go ahead and get the all-time record.
And look at the numbers. 238 rushing yards to Cleveland's 7. First down and 10 from the 23. Nick Williams hops through the hole. Now Bruce Coslett deciding to run the football. His team up big already, 44-21.
And a lot of credit has to go to this Bengals offensive line. They've really pulled this thing together. Had him earlier in the season. It was a jailbreak when you saw him try to pass protect. Guys were coming from all different angles, up the gut, off the corner, you name it. They were giving up sacks. They weren't getting a lot of push in the run game. And about 3 or 4 weeks ago, they decided to start playing together as a unit and have really started to control the line of scrimmage.
Inside throws. You have to credit Paul Alexander, the offensive line coach for Cincinnati. And he has been mixing and matching guys on the line this season, as most offensive line coaches have to do because of the injuries. Here in the second half of the season, they have really come together.
And you always talk about quarterbacks and receivers developing that chemistry, but there's a chemistry that has to be developed along the offensive line, knowing what guys are doing, how they play, making calls, all those things need to be taken into account.
Pitch to Bassnight. Looking for first down on 32. And that should take us to the end of the quarter. That's the end of the quarter, and the score 44-21 Bengals. We'll return to Cincinnati right after this message and a word from your local station. They lead it 44-21. And Cincinnati with the football at the 12-yard line, first down and 10. Start of the fourth quarter. Bassnight running around the corner and knocked out of bounds at the 5. Corey Dillon is done for the day. 28 carries, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Ronnie Powell, who left the field for Cleveland, he left for precautionary reasons. He did have pain in his neck, but he was taken into the locker room, and he does not have any neurological damage. And he also has movement and feeling in all of his extremities. So a precautionary measure taken. Ronnie Powell. There's a handoff again. Bassnight gets to the 5. Wally Rayner with the stop.
Bassnight getting some extra carries here. Nick Williams, a big fullback, getting his head on a few guys inside the Cleveland defensive line. Talked about Nick Williams being 267 pounds. That is a monster fullback. Like to see Big Nick carry the ball down here. See if he's got some shake and bake.
Played at Miami. Blocked for Edgerrin James, the star tailback for the Indianapolis Colts. There's Bassnight keeping those legs churning. Gets to the 2-yard line. Raheem Abdullah with the tackle. On third down and 3. And the Bengal fans, they want more. But I can't see Bruce Coslett doing that.
Well, it doesn't look like the field goal team's coming in. So they're going to keep it on the ground.
Not trying to, and this is a situation in which he's not trying to run up the score, is it?
No,
or is it
they're
not?
just running the ball. If they're trying to run up the score, they'd be throwing it.
So fourth down. There's Bassnight. Goes backwards. Wally Rayner, great tackle.
Wally Rayner came shooting through that line. I don't think Cincinnati made the first down.
So they did not make the first down, and Cleveland takes over inside their own 5. Tuesday on CBS, it's a very special holiday jag when a visit to Christmas past makes for a story of romance and adventure. Tuesday on CBS, Browns take over at their own 3-yard line. Tim Couch passing underneath. Campbell with the catch, and he gets to the 15. And Gus Johnson along with Brent Jones in this Cincinnati team, very impressive today.
Very nice running game. Offensive line getting some push. Cleveland still wasn't able to handle the cutback running of Corey Dillon, who gashed him into the secondary all day long.
What did he do?
Gashed him.
Okay.
Hey, those are nice gloves. Got some nice gloves on. I'm going to tell you what I used to tell Jerry Rice in cold weather. Gloves are for sissies.
Okay, thank you very much. My mother's watching this. First down and 10 from the 15. Here's Couch scrambling out of the pocket and is down at the 10-yard line to Keo Spikes.
Yeah, I thought you were tough. Don't try to take them off and try to fool the viewers at home.
Off. I like my gloves. I got these yesterday.
I got you.
As we got our matching sweaters. Now, what did you tell Jerry Rice?
I never wore gloves in a game. I told him gloves are for sissies. And he laughed. You're not laughing.
I'm not laughing.
Well, you're not as tough as Jerry.
Okay, buddy. I got something for you after this game.
That's right.
I'm going to show you my sissy. Here's Couch, and he's sacked at the 1. Kimo von Oelhoffen.
Now, I'm used to saying that name now, Kimo von Oelhoffen. And a big part of the Bengals' drive on defense is when they went from a 3-4 to a 4-3, an extra lineman. That was Kimo von Oelhoffen. And that fourth defensive lineman, you saw him coming a stunt right there, unblocked. Tim Couch taking a lot of hits this year coming into today's game. Cleveland had given up 49 sacks, the most in the NFL. You've got to protect your franchise quarterback. That's something they're going to have to address this offseason.
3rd down and 20 from the 4. Play clock winding down. Flag on the play. Terry Kirby breaks free. And the play is blown dead. They didn't get it off in time.
And Raynard Wilson came in and just slammed Tim Couch to the ground. And he takes, I think this is a flagrant foul. Watch 55. Just, okay, tackle him there. And he takes him by the neck and throws him right to the ground. And at this point, I'm wondering why Tim Couch is in the game. He is the future. He is the franchise here in Cleveland. And I know Chris Palmer's done a nice job of managing them this year. But it's 44-21 with 11 minutes left in the 4th quarter. You're backed up. And your quarterback's taking shots.
Been sacked 3 times, knocked down 6 times, hurried 5 times. Backup quarterback is Ty Detmer. Started the first game of the season before being replaced.
Well, the Browns are going to have 13 picks this upcoming draft. They got to use 4 or 5 of those on offensive linemen.
And another flag.
And I actually think Kevin Johnson outside was leaning again, jumping that snap count. Got to wait till that ball snap.
Prior to the snap, false start, 85 of the offense. Penalized half the distance to the goal. Remains 3rd down.
Chris Palmer saying, what's he doing? He just has to look at the snap of the ball. You don't have to hear the snap count. You can't hear it when you're that wide anyway.
Third down, 23. Couch just lets it fly. And it's intercepted. Greg Myers. 4th turnover of the day.